Hi, it's Jared from Strong Roots Farm. We've got the truck hooked to the trailer and we're ready to go get a fresh load of calves today. So I thought while I was doing this, I would go ahead and make this video of showing you what you need to do when bringing home calves for the first time. Now, I'm not saying that this is your first time ever. If it is, this video will help you. If you've done this 100 times, it is still the same process. This is day 1 through week 2 of bringing brand new calves to your farm. We're all hooked up, air pressure is in the tires, the bedding is in the back of the trailer. Let's get going. I'll take you through it all. Stick around. Welcome back. As we begin, I want you to keep 3 main things in line, or 4 things in mind here as we go through this at all points of these lessons and the things that I do. So when we bring calves home, we got to feed and water them. So we want to make sure they have adequate feed and water at all times. We want to keep them safe. So they need to have good fencing or perimeters or whatever we're going to do, whether that's a shed for structure, whatever time of the year we're bringing them home, they have to remain safe and secure at all times. And we need to train them to our systems. For us, that means we're going to train them to temporary electric fence, because we do grass-fed and we do daily or weekly moves here. So these calves need to be trained to this fence if they did not come from a farm that prior trained them. Even if they're cane trained, they're used to the same system, we need to show them the equipment we are using here. So those 3 things, we need to do all of this at a low stress level. So everything that we're doing right now is going to be high stress on them, moving them from one farm to the next. So we need to minimize stress as much as possible. So keep all that in mind as we go through these things. All right, so I'm going to take you through the stuff that we did preemptively. Before we leave to go get these calves, all of this stuff needs to be set up and ready so that we're not keeping them on that trailer any longer than we have to. So you'll see my gate is open and set for me to back up here. You need to have a space where you can unload your calves, your cattle, whatever it would be that you're buying, where they can easily and safely walk off that trailer without you trying to shove them down an alleyway or a loading chute, something like that. So if they can walk off into a field that's wide open, they see the grass, you're not in that trailer pushing them and yelling, all those things increase stress. So we have this system, we back right up this driveway, back our trailer right to this gate. We simply open up the back door and stand back. Give them time. Just let them take 5 minutes. Who cares? It's 5 minutes. Let them easily go off. Usually it's less than 30 seconds. They see the grass, we're out of their way, they come off the trailer. So that's the first thing. Make sure that they have an easy way to unload and an easy way for you to back in. You don't have to back around a lot of stuff. A lot of that comes as preemptive management or building of your structures prior to even thinking about cattle. How are you going to get them in here? Now next, I always recommend in all of our fencing videos that you have a permanent fenced training area like we have. This is probably 100 to 150 wide by 250 to 300 long. So just over 1/4 acre, 1/2 acre maybe. This little teeny field that we have up here next to the barns, this is what we call our training pen. Has the gate that we like, but you see the grass is tall. We don't graze this a bunch. So if we come in and graze, no matter what my grazing style of the season is that we're doing at the time, we always just take 1/3 of this, because I always want this tall enough that at any time a good deal came out to buy some calves or some more cows, that we can bring them here and train them. The main thing with this pen is it's close to the house so you can watch them, whether you're driving by it every day or whatever it would be. Has to have good food, good water access, so we got lots of grass, and it has to be hard fenced. No temporary fencing. The perimeter of this field is all hard fenced with good solid gates. They're not getting out. As we look at how you should set this up or where you should set this pen up, I'm I'm just gonna point out a few things, and it's gonna change depending on your topography and how your farm is set up. But you'll notice there's a gate here, there's a gate right there. We can go into this bigger pasture over here. We can go into this bigger pasture that's that way. We can go into a pasture behind me. So I've connected everything. We can even get into our barn and our loading chute and all that kind of stuff. So this is a great area for a training pen for us, because no matter where the main herd is at, I'm easily gonna be able to get these calves to that main herd when it is time. So think about that in your fence setup. All right, back to the pen that we have. So we've got our pen set, and you'll see I've already set up, or at least hopefully you can see that, I've already set up my temporary line. So I have split this field. I've probably taken a third of this whole pasture, and that's what I'm giving them day one. Now, I have a little disadvantage where they have to go into that gate right there where that hay ring is. We'll go there in a second, because that's where their water's at. So they've got this little corner with this fence that is turned on. It is turned on right now. They're gonna touch it with their nose, and they're very quickly gonna be trained that this temporary fence is not to be crossed. Some pointers here. I have switched to these pigtail posts, so you can see that, because it does not keep the line tight. So you can see maybe a little bit here. It kind of has a droopiness to it in that line. And what that's gonna do, maybe you can see it better this way, they kind of just float, the line just kind of flows. It's not pulled tight. What that does is, as if a calf tries to go under it or over it, one, if it gets into it, it's not gonna snap the line because it's not tight. Two, it's gonna flow around the calf to shock them, okay? So the pigtail posts allow that line to become tighter here. It'll pull tightness at each end, but still stay loose around the calf here if they get into it, and then it'll level back out. We like those. Just pro tip here, if you're doing this in training and you have some old stakes that are kind of not your best stakes and they're kind of broke and got some tabs broke off, this is the time to use that, because most likely they're going to break one of these. If they are plastic, they will definitely break at least one during training, unless you just got a good group of calves that you brought in, or cows that you brought in. Cows are a little smarter, quicker to train than brand new weaned calves. We got brand new weaned calves coming today. But these pigtail ones, they're all metal. So if they bend one of these over, I can bend them back. Just to show you this real quick, we're using these little teeny plastic reels. I've got a couple of these. They're handy. I'll put a link down in the description. We've got a couple of these, one for this scenario where we're training to a specific thing, but also I like these little reels versus the big, 1,000 foot of wire on a reels that we have, for when I like to make little gates or little run-ins, or I'll segregate something off. I keep a couple of these little chintzy cheap reels around. They probably only hold 150, 200 feet of wire on them. There's not a lot on there, right? So we have a couple of those. I'll put that down there if that helps you out. We hook it to the fence there, we hook it up here, and we put a alligator clip to connect to our hot wire. So that wire is hot right now. Part of our paddock is we have this feeding lot. There's 18 inches of stone underneath there. This was put in by the Agricultural Society before we got here. When we bought this farm, part of this was here. I got it a little bigger and put all new fence around it and fixed the water, but it had this heavy use feed pad, they call them. So this is part of this paddock for us. You can see it's got 4 inches of wood chips all over it now. We've got a round bale set up just because of the season, and I had this round bale here for, we got cold the other day and I had a calf in here. And so we got good bedding. It's clean. We're not bringing them into old manure areas. We got some hay that'll just help them with their comfort, multiple sources of feed. And then they've got a big watering trough. They also have a hog shed. Now we use this so when we have cow-calf pairs in here, the calf can get out of the wind, but the cow can't lay on them. But my young calves, weaned calves, they'll be able to get in there too. Until they're about 600 pounds, they'll be able to get into that thing. But if you have a barn and you're bringing home cow-calf pairs, I like that situation where the calves can get in someplace out of the wind that the cows cannot. It helps them not to get laid on if you're putting them into a big herd. Just a little pro tip. Next, we have our water trough set out and it's filled. Prior to getting them here, I fill it. I filled it last night actually, but I want it full so that when I bring them here, I can kind of just let them do their thing. They have access to everything and I don't have to stress them anymore. Day one, when I unload them, I shut the gate and I leave them alone. And so I want everything done before they get here. So that's day one, a solid setup before you bring them here, right? So we got good feed and water, got good strong fence, we got our temporary training up, we've got some hay, waters are full, and we have good access with every gate shut except for the gate we're gonna unload in. We're simply gonna unload and let them in here as little stress as possible, right? The only reason I would come in where these calves are day one, or I would let kids around them making noise or anything like that, is if within the first 30 minutes, they knocked over that line and I had to come in and reset it so that the other calves can get trained. So if they bolt out of there and one of them runs through it, I'm gonna give them 30 minutes, shut my fence off, come fix this, turn my fence back on and leave them alone. Now, there's plenty of room in here. So it's not like I'm cornering them, right? So there's gotta be enough room in this training pen that I can come to one side, I can fix this line if I have to, and I'm not chasing them around. You never wanna be in a situation, day one especially, where you have to chase these calves. Let them calm down and acclimate to their new pen. Well, now what? So I'm gonna keep them here for about 2 weeks. Okay, so we've got this paddock, we've got this pasture over here. I can rotate them in once they get trained a little bit, but I'm gonna keep them out of my herd for at minimum a week. If not 2 weeks is a little better. And so we want them to learn to be by themselves for the most part and learn that I am not a predator, I am a protector. Okay, so you're gonna do things to train them that you are the guy that is gonna feed and water and protect them. You are not here to hurt them. So let's go through some of those things, and we're continuing to train this line. So over these 2 weeks, I'm gonna move them around, move this line in different spots until I feel that they're adequately trained to it, moving them, rolling it up, moving them to one side and setting it back up, getting used to me moving them around this line. But I am the protector, not the predator. So with that, my water, and this is all personal preference, but my water is not an automatic water. I want to come out every day and fill that water up. They'll see me filling the water up. I'll have to stand there for 10 minutes or so. And at that time, they get nosy. They come and get closer and closer every day as they learn I'm the provider of their water. I'm moving the fence and not harming them, not yelling at them, not screaming at them, just being calm, moving the fence. I'm not here to harm them. Get the picture? So that's some of the things. Now, there are some things you can do to speed this process up as far as teaching this predator protector mindset in these calves. So the first thing is if they've been on feed, like grain feed, and you are gonna feed grain, this will come very quickly because you're gonna bring a bucket of feed out to them every day. And that's what I would recommend. Don't have them on an automatic feeder. Take buckets of feed to them for the first week or so, and they'll get used to you bringing them, and it won't take but a couple of days. And when they see you coming with that bucket, they'll come running, and you will train them that you're the guy that brings them the feed. Now for us, we're 100% grass-fed, so we're not gonna do that. So we don't do this, but we could, if you wanna do this and you're an all grass-fed, you could go get a bag of alfalfa pellets, which are typically for horse, but you can get that at your local feed store. You could get a little bunk feeder, and you're not gonna bring very much though, like one feed scoop a day of these alfalfa pellets, but they're sweet. And you could, give that to them, they will eat it, and they won't touch it the first day or the second day. They won't come run into the bunk feeder for an alfalfa pellet. It's just not sweet enough like a corn feed would be. But third, fourth day, they will learn that you're the guy bringing the alfalfa pellet. Just don't let them get 100% used to it. Don't feed them that for a month, okay? One, they're expensive, and two, you don't want them always used to getting those. You want them to forage. But that is a way to speed up that predator protector mindset in them if you'd like to do that. The other way you can speed this up, and I don't do this, and I'll tell you why, but the other way you could speed this up is if you had other calves that had been here for a while that weren't very large. So I'm not gonna put brand new weaned calves in with 900-pound steers just because they've been here. but I'm looking to have calves in with them that have been trained, that are weaned, and that are similar in size, because they'll learn from those calves. When those calves come running towards me when I come in with something, or aren't afraid of me when I'm changing fence, or aren't afraid of me when I'm coming water, the other calves will quickly learn. I don't know if they can talk to each other, but they learn from each other, and that will speed that process up. The negative for this is if these calves that you're bringing to your farm have a sickness that your current herd does not have, whether it's a sniffle or a cough, or whether it's just something different than they're used to, it'll take them a couple weeks to work through that. Get rid of that traveling cough, sometimes they call it, shipping fever. So I don't bring new calves in because I don't want them to spread that like a kindergarten classroom. But if you're comfortable, you didn't bring them very far, and you're comfortable with doing that, it will help you speed that process up. But ultimately, at the most, it's going to take 2 weeks for them to become very comfortable with you. So I don't mind the time, and I would rather do that than spread a sickness with my calves. Since we're talking about sickness, there is one situation where I would get out here and have to work these calves. So if I'm buying calves that have not been worked, as we would call it. So brand new weaned calves typically get a black leg shot. It's a vaccination. We give them the black leg. We give a probiotic paste in the mouth. You can pick this up at any any farm and fleet store. Pro One or whatever the brand is that you want is fine. It's just something that helps them a little bit get acclimated. And then we tag the ears and any other thing that you would do like that. Now, we do not have to do that. Banding. If you have to band calves to make them steers, this is when you want to do it, right? If you haven't already got it done by this time. We don't have to do that. So the guy that I'm buying from, he knows what I want. I buy from the same guy every year. He calls me when they're ready, and he called me a week ago and said he's working them. He worked them a week ago. He leaves them at his farm for a week. Then I go and pick them up. So they've been banded. They've had their shots, and they've got ear tags in their ears. They are just generic ear tags, but it's enough for me to put them in my system, and I will not change that number unless we turn them into a herd heifer, into a cow. Eventually we'll put our specific number. If they end up being beef, we'll just leave that generic number, that pre-printed number in their ear, and keep them tracked in our system. So they've already been worked, so we don't have to do that. But if you buy calves that aren't worked, how would you go about doing that? Once we go get these calves, I will take you through our walking chute because I want to get going for this evening and get these here and get loaded. But basically, from our training pen, we go through here, and over here in this corner is our alleyway that goes around, and our loading chute is in that barn. So we have the systems here. We have everything in place with a loading chute and a squeeze chute, a head gate, whatever it would be. You need to have some way to do this if you're gonna have calves, or do not buy calves that aren't pre-treated. If you're buying from a stockyard or a sale barn, they have vets on staff typically, and you can ask them to do this before you leave the sale barn. Now, we don't recommend that. We like buying direct from the farmer and knowing what we're getting and what herd they came from, all that. But if you had to do it, we wait a week. So we get them here, we get them calmed down a little bit, we get them acclimated to our area, and then we'll run them down this alley. We'll put those ear tags in, band if we have to, castrate if we have to, depending on the size. We've had to do this before, but it's pretty rare now with as long as we've been doing this. So if you have to do it, I usually wait at minimum 3 days to a week. That's kind of the window, somewhere in there. When you do it, it's gonna add stress to them. There's no way around it. Some of them will go in and be super calm. Some of them, you're gonna find out you got a little crazy one when you go to do this. So be safe, take your time, have a system in place. If it's your very first time, I recommend if you have a friend that's done this before to have them around, or a vet here. Now, take that all with a grain of salt. You have to make this decision on your own. It's all up to you to do that correctly, but you're gonna wait that 3 days to a week to do it. And then after you work them, because you increased their stress, you're gonna leave them in this training pen for another 3 to 7 days, because you want them to calm back down, acclimate back to you, because you just showed them a little bit that you're kind of a predator, not a protector. You did something that they didn't like. So let them calm back down and reinforce that you're that protector, not a predator. All right, my gates are shut, everything's set up, we're ready to roll. I'm gonna go ahead and go get these calves. I'm not gonna film at the farmer where I buy these calves. I don't have permission to film on his farm. I don't even wanna ask. You don't need to see that. We're gonna load these calves, we're gonna bring them home, and then we'll get back to that gate and I'll show you exactly what we do. All right, well, we made it back, and unfortunately it's gotten dark, so you're not gonna get to see this very well. We'll come and I'll finish this video in the morning, seeing them come out in the dark. So this is something to learn from me. It is better to let these out when they have a couple hours of daylight left, but we are gonna take this video. I'll open the gate up. We have lights inside our trailers, which you can see. And they'll come out, and I'll go by here, but you might get blinded. I have a spotlight on the side of the trailer that shines out into the pasture. So they loaded fine. I just stood around and talked for an hour about the next set of calves that just got dropped that I'm gonna be getting later in the spring. So don't do that, get home in the daylight. Coming into the trailer, opening the cut gate. Swinging the cut gate open there, and I'm just gonna stand back and let them come out slowly. Trying to be real quiet. Just let them walk away. I'm not going to shoo them in there. Just let them take their time walking in. Look at them. They already got their heads down. The grass is better here than when they came from. Oh, spooked them a little bit. So I'll go around, do a little check real quick, just double check everything, pull the trailer up, shut this gate, and then we'll come back and check on them in the morning. Well, it's the next day and no major mishaps. They didn't even knock down the line. Everything seems to be good. They found the water they've obviously been drinking. Now you can tell they're a little skittish. They're already walking out as I walk in this pen. I'm not gonna chase after them. We will walk down here, but nothing crazy. Two of them had their heads down eating. When I got here, got up to the fence, everything seems good so far. Let's walk and check. A little warmer today, a little bit windy. Sorry if that hits the mic there, but everything looks good. So, you know, they're not super awful skittish. We'll take our time, do a little walking every day out here with them. But you can see, hopefully in the camera there, the fence hasn't been touched at all. They didn't even move it or wiggle it, it doesn't look like. So they're respecting it, which is a good and a bad thing. So I'm not really upset if I see it knocked over on day one because I know somebody got into it. So they're respecting it. The other guy does a little bit of movement with single strand. So hopefully they understand, but just because it's not down doesn't mean they've been trained. On day 2 here we are. So they need time to get into it and search, play around with it, and get shocked by it and kind of understand what's going to happen with it. So we'll give them another day or 2 like it's set up, just let them calm down, and then I'll start moving it, changing different spots with it, and then see how they react to it, and that'll kind of help us as we train them to this line. So I said I would do a quick walkthrough if you had to work these animals, tag them, whatever you have to do. So from our heavy use feed pad pen, from this pen here, we would then push them to this corner and they would go down this alley. And so we'll go around the alley, it goes all the way around the barn. There are 5 cut gates along through, so if we needed to separate, we could. We can fit about 20, 30 head in there at a time if we needed to. But we would take them around here and then we'll go to the other side of the barn. We'll come down this alley. You can see the last sorting gate there, and then they come into this half moon, what we call our sweep gate. It'll push them up against this gate, and then they go down this alleyway right here, and it takes them into our barn right here at this door, and we'll go in there and we'll look at our squeeze chute. So bad lighting right at the moment, but they come in this door here, and then they can go into our squeeze chute, and then they'll go back out the other door on that side, back out to our loading. So it's nice to have a setup like this, even though we haven't used it in about 6 months, and now it's covered with cobwebs due to the pigs in here. So you can see our pigs there. They're getting ready to be butchered this weekend. So they're big and hefty and fun. But this is our little working area. So there's a gate right here that shuts. we can stay in that section in there and do our working. And we have this nice squeeze chute set up when the lights work and it's clean and the pigs aren't noisy. Well, there you have it. So that's what we do day one, bringing home calves, and this will progress for the next week to 2 weeks. As I said, we'll continue to train them, see how close we can get to them, keep working with them every day, come out and fill the water every day. Even though that big water tote, as cool as it is right now, they're not drinking a bunch. I probably only need to fill it every 2 to 3 days, but we will be out here every day as if we're doing something with them. And that'll just get them acclimated to us, the moving of the lines, train them to our system, and every day their stress will become less and less. Now, there's nothing that says you have to use my system. You can simply back up to a fence, open the gate, and let them go, and then search for them in 3 months from there and after they've gotten a little bit bigger and they're in with your main herd. You just run risks of them spreading sickness if they would have it, health issues because they were just vaccinated and banded, so we kind of need to watch them a little bit. So those are the issues we're watching for. And then you also don't get that acclimation, so they don't become as friendly, as calm, as easy to work. And so because we do daily moves, it's important that we do these trainings to this fence. So that's just our system and how we do it. And it has been a very productive, safe, and we've rarely have an issue. If I have an issue, it's because of the calf that I bought, not necessarily our processes. If you're buying from a stockyard or a sale barn, you can get one that is just crazy no matter what you do. But when you buy from a local farm like us, and he does similar systems, they're all grass-fed, they have had 0 grain their entire life. So we know what we're getting, and that is a point that is much safer. It's much easier to deal with cattle when you buy them in that manner. Appreciate you watching. If you're interested in one of our shirts, we have t-shirts, not these hoodies. We have t-shirts, they look like this. They're super high quality shirts. They're a little longer in the body because I'm a tall guy. They are an athletic fit, so they run a little bit smaller than your average shirt if you're not an athletic built guy. And they're super soft. They don't fade in the wash machine, but they're like that super soft athletic material. They last a long time. If you're interested in one of those, you can email us down below and get one. They are $20. If not, it's not a big deal. Just want to offer that to you if you're a faithful subscriber and you like our videos and you want a cool farm shirt. Appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. Come along with us. We will take any comments we can get on something that you want to see video-wise. So if there's something that you want to see us do and want to understand better, or you're having issues with on your small farmer homestead, let us know. I'll be glad to make a video for you. You can comment down below in the comments, or you can shoot me a direct email. I do get emails all the time. It takes me a couple of days to get to all of them, but I try to do a thoughtful response to give you helpful information back. Appreciate you watching. Until next time.